You know those times where you feel like you don't have time to do anything in your day? You know those times where, do I have time for lunch? Do I have time to get from Maple Ridge all the way here to give a talk? Do I have time to, try and look appropriate? And on my drive today, I just want to share that I was talking to my ex-boyfriend. And I'm smiling because I'm very happy for him. Him and his lovely wife are expecting a baby. And I am very happy for him. So I shared, my excitement for him, and I got off the phone and I started driving. And I knew my topic is all about shift and talking about time. And talking about time, I'm going, do I have time to fall in love? Do I have time to get married? And do I have time to have children? I want to have 2 children. I'm going to be 33 this summer. So the thoughts, time, keeps going through my mind. And I keep thinking, I don't have time for all this. And it's really creating a lot of anxiety within me. And it's really, it's debilitating sometimes because I'm so wired to, do I have time for this? And that's going to be something that I'm going to be really going back to throughout this speech. Because time is limited. And you might be wondering why I have a stopwatch. I have this stopwatch because once I started, I have 15 minutes on this stopwatch. And once I start it, that's going to be how many minutes I was given left to live. I am going to use the acronyms for WATCH to share my story because I truly believe that we all have beautiful stories. And it's so important to turn it into your message and share it with other people. W is for willingness to live. A is for activation. T is for teaching. C is for challenge. And H is for happiness. If I'm going to start with willingness, the willingness to live started when I was 19 years old. I was carefree. I valued freedom and fun, and I just lived, just loved life, and I just traveled. And I was 19, and I went to Cancun, Mexico, with my friend from England. And I don't really like to share this as much because I don't like being so vulnerable. But I want to be vulnerable with you guys, so I'm going to share everything. I was on the beach in Mexico, and I didn't have any travel insurance. And I was drinking. I was doing shots of tequila. And this guy said to me, let's go on a jet ski. My intuition, I knew that I shouldn't have done it. But I did it. I got on this jet ski. And life as I knew it was definitely going to change. I was going as fast as I could through the water, and I smashed into a cement dock floating in the water. Right then and there, I just flew backwards into the water, and I remember closing my eyes, floating in the water, praying that this was just a nightmare, but I could hear the screams. And I knew. I opened my eyes, and my brain was telling my legs to move, and they weren't moving. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is real. This is really happening. And I asked them to bring me to a general hospital because in North American terms, that's where we would go. And at the hospital, it was like a Stephen King horror novel. There was no means for them to take care of me. And I was in really grave danger. My friend, fortunately, found out about my accident and came to the hospital, where she threatened the British consulate after them and said that you must let my friend go because it's so important that we take her to this private hospital. But they could not do anything for me. She gave them $400 or equivalent to $400 Canadian, and I was rushed to this private hospital where after a CAT scan, I had a doctor tell me, you're internally bleeding to death and you have 15 minutes left to live. And right there, I thought, if I can't, I'm not in control of this. So if I'm meant to be, then I'm going to be here, and I'm going to be here for a reason. And if I'm not, then it's my time to go. I woke to the doctor who saved my life. And I had, if you can see here, I had pulls through my hips and across my pelvis. It was called an external fixator. I couldn't walk. I broke my pelvis in half, I broke my right hip, and I cracked my tailbone. And I was told I may never walk, let alone run. That was really scary. I was 19 years old, and I was told that I may not ever run or walk. And this is where I'm going to stop the watch. I'm gonna go and shift my perspective from surviving to thriving. And it's truly embracing what's happened and feeling what you need to feel. Because when you're in survival mode, the thoughts of, I'm not good enough, I'm a bad person, maybe I should have died. Am I even worthy of survival because I chose to drink and drive? I am a bad person. Really enveloped me. And I couldn't stop repeating those really bad things about myself. So when I activated a shift in my mind, it was a huge goal. I have pulls through my hips, and my mom wheelchairs me outside of the Vancouver hospital. And I saw the Vancouver Sun Run flags. And I thought, I'm gonna run. I've never ran 10 kilometers. Here I am in a wheelchair. I am gonna run 10 kilometers the next Sun Run. And everyone said, no, Danielle, don't do it. You cannot run, you like, no. And I thought, no, I'll show you. I've got this. And I trained with my local community. Ran with my dad and my sister, and an exact year to date of my accident. I'm standing in Vancouver. I'm at the start line with my dad and my sister. And just the energy, everything was just like absolutely I felt everything. So I started to cry. And this man came up to me and he goes, oh, sweetie, this is not that hard of a run. You are gonna be okay. And I'm like, no, he does not know the significance of this day. This day is so significant because just a year ago, I was told I had 15 minutes left to live. And here I am doing my first 10-kilometer race I've ever done. And guess what? I did it in my best time I've ever done it, in 55 minutes. So going from surviving to thriving is something, this shift that happened in me, and it didn't happen overnight, but it's something that's so beautiful, and that's this beautiful message that I want to share with others. And then that leads well into my teaching. Teaching is giving back, sharing a lesson, sharing something with someone. I volunteer for this beautiful, beautiful organization. It's called Soul Girls, where we empower young girls and we make exercise fun. And we talk about body image. We talk about anxiety, nutrition, leadership, community, and it's so fun. I get to let my inner 10-year-old out and just have so much fun. But the most important thing for me is I'm giving back and I'm sharing my story of the Sun Run with them. I'm sharing this Vancouver Sun article with them, and they know that they too have the power to do anything they put their mind to. We just have to make these goals and shift our perspective. Now, C is for challenge. I've had a few other challenges in my life. A year after this accident, I got the phone call that nobody wants to get. I was told you have cervical cancer. And I thought, oh, why me? I went into survival mode. I thought, I'm really, this is bad. I'm a bad person. Maybe I deserve this. I must deserve this because I was smoking, and I really didn't like myself. I just did not enjoy anything that was happening in my life, and I was in a really bad space. And I didn't shift my perspective until I had to feel what I needed to feel in survival mode, and what helped was my family. And I decided to shift my perspective to, I'm here for a reason. I'm here for a reason, and it could be to share this with one woman and help one woman go and get a physical, and I could help save her life. Because I stand here in front of you all because of early detection. I am so fortunate that I was able to have the surgery, and I'm able to now say that I'm cancer-free. So it was beautiful that I went into a thriving mode. The worst challenge that I've had so far in my life hasn't been those. Absolutely not. It has been the person who's been through that throughout the whole thing was my father. He saved the day. He came to Mexico and actually picked me up with those poles up the stairs on the airplane. He was my hero. He was my best friend. We lived together, we worked together, we traveled together. My sister, my dad, and I called ourselves the Three Musketeers. So when we got the diagnosis that he had stage 4 prostate cancer, I thought, no, this can't be happening because we've gotten through all these other challenges. Why is this happening? And the survival mode and the negative thoughts really ensued. And the part where we shifted our perspective was my father. He didn't take a day for granted. He loved life more than life itself. And he taught me some really valuable lessons in not to fear for the future, to truly embrace and live in the moment and live your best life in that moment. And not to dwell on unfortunate circumstances. So we told each other we loved each other, but every day, we always did that. It was just this sense of like, all of us just really embracing and living our best lives. And I'm so blessed that I had this amazing experience with him. In regards to shift, that is where I've decided that I'm gonna be thriving because my dad's legacy lives through me. And the last one is happiness. I choose to be happy because love heals all wounds. I choose to stop the time because time is limited. I'm boundless. I want to live my life the way I want to live it. I want to live in the moment. I'm not going to take a day for granted, and I'm not going to live with time. I'm not going to do that. And I've decided to stop the clock because I want a legacy of somebody who's strong and who's courageous and who chooses happiness and lives their best life. So I'm asking you, when are you going to stop the clock? What type of legacy do you want to leave behind? I think that's everything. Thanks.